Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're with us at FluxMotorsport TV, and I am your host for the evening, as per usual, Lecky 2000. It's Thursday night, and it's just gone 8 PM, and we are coming up partway through our qualifying session for our usual GT1 race. This week we are at Watkins, Glen, and we reach you here for race 4 of this season. So partway through our season for race 4, as we come up at Watkins Glen. A little bit cold here today at Watkins Glen. Track temperatures a little bit underneath what we would expect currently, 56 degrees Fahrenheit. Not particularly windy, quite a clear day, so weather looking quite mild, but certainly quite cold, and the guys have all started to opt for softer tyres, I believe, in this round. So where are we up to this week, and where do we come from last week? So last week we're just off the back of our round race 3 at Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, and that saw Linga Bazinga take yet another win. So another pole and another win. That's 3 in 3 for Linga Bazinga. Unfortunately, this time round he did not take fastest lap though. Fastest lap last race went to Sterling Bongo. We have him up there on screen now in his black and orange Mercedes CLK. So great couple of laps put in from Sterling Bongo back to back to getting that fastest lap. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a turbulent race for Sterling Bongo. I saw him drop down the order and came back with a bit of a wonder fight towards the end. But yeah, fastest lap for Sterling Bongo. So this week, no real new faces with us. A lot of the old crowd, one or two guys you may not see. So Tibby, who was second in our standings in our leaderboard, unfortunately he's no longer going to be racing in GT1s. He's had to take retirement due to personal circumstances. So unfortunately we will lose Tibby from our championship, but that has given rise for our Toyota driver, Jack Dementes. So you just go over to Jack. Jack just coming up to this last corner here and across the pit straight. Jack got set to 6th place. Toyota's starting to struggle here, I think. Really are going to struggle with it. That front aero on there. So got a lot of power, great on the straights, but an awful lot of corners and adverse camber switching to positive camber. So it's going to be a difficult job here for the Toyota drivers today. But Jack currently doing well, like I said, second in our championship. Here we have one of the ledges. So DJ and 074 ledger, family members, both joined us recently in the past couple of weeks, so relatively new members to the championship. I have had a couple of reserve drives in the past, so have actually gathered some points up here, and they will count towards the overall standings. So our reserve drivers do still clock up points if they fill in for a different driver. So they don't collect points for that driver, but they actually get their own points. So always worth it turning up and sticking your name in the hat if you are a reserve driver at FluxMotorsport. Both ledges, as we see, are on tracks at very similar lap times. We've come to expect this from these guys. Not a lot separating these two. Similar capability, similar speed, and hopefully they'll both do well. As we see somebody going around there, is that Stoltz maybe in the panels? I think it is. That's Stoltz, number 10, currently on our grid, having a bit of difficulty with the panels. I must admit, I've just had a quick look at the panels around here myself whilst we're in the pre-qualifying session. Difficult, very difficult. Great to drive when she's feeling like she's hooked in, but very, very twitchy and very sensitive towards the weight distribution in that car. So no assist on the panels either, so no traction control, no ABS, no bunny back, no guarantee with this car, so it's all on the driver. I think that's Luke we just see out the pits. It is indeed, so that's Luke Snipes. Luke Snipes currently set 9th on our leaderboard, and if we go over to our championship, he's also 9th. So Luke loving the number 9 at the moment. Seen Luke come up leaps and bounds recently through our last season through our championship. Not to forget, Luke is a pad driver, so he uses a controller A lot of guys say that there's you know, mixed bag of feelings about controllers. Some guys swirl it faster, and some guys are convinced that it's not quite as realistic if you're not using a steering wheel setup. But look, obviously proving some of the guys wrong here. Getting a little bit squirrely there on the exit. I'm sure they do well today. And currently in third spot, so just behind Linga Bazinga and Snarling Bongo, who we mentioned earlier, is Martin 65, or Jelmer as he's known to his mates. Another Dutch driver, so that's a Dutch 1-2-3 here that we have at the Glen today. So the Dutch coming out in force to show how quick they are in these Mercedes. We're on this quite temperate Watkins Glen track today. We'll always keep an eye on Bruce Law. Bruce Law currently became third in our last race at Dubai. And that's Bruce Law, curse of the commentator there, just as he comes around that downhill left hand section there, just losing the back end of it. Yep, but as we said, Bruce Law just currently fourth in our championship with 57 points, so quite tight for third, fourth and fifth. We've got Dyson, Bruce Law and DJ Ledger with Lincoln Bazinga and Jack just sat above those guys in the championship. Murphy comes up in 6th place, Snarling Bongo, like I said, in 7th place, so starting to work his way back up the order, up from 11th. Dirty Diggler in 8th place, Luke 42, as we just mentioned, in 9th place. Immortalis in 10th place. Immortalis yet to set a quick lap time here today. Again, that Toyota he was in the previous season may have paid dividends. The car switch potentially he might struggle with here. Stoltz currently sat in 11th. Alright Turkish, you can't be with us this evening, in 12th place. All-74 Ledger in 13th. Dog Molly, again, who can't be with us this evening, he's a reserve driver, I believe, with 10 points. And Old Smoky heading up the back of the field in 15th spot with just 5 points. So Old Smoky looking to do a little bit better today. So just 4 minutes left in our session. Just take a little bit of time to tell you about Flux Motorsport. If you are interested in getting involved in our driving, as you can see, we do have 1 or 2 free open spots in our championships. Do feel free to head over to our website at fluxmotorsport.com, and if you look over to the top right hand corner of the website, there's a driver sign up button. If you're not really into racing, but you do like watching racing, you are into motorsport, and you want to catch all the races on YouTube, then don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified of our brand new videos. So streaming currently at least 2 or 3 times a week, twice live, 3 if we can get it. I believe Thursday is currently a post broadcast, so this is not coming to you live, probably a day or 2 after the event, but the vast majority of our races are live broadcast with commentary, so feel free to come along and join in the action. So just back over to our guys out on track. Linga Bazinga still currently setting the fastest laps with a 1:34, which is a clear margin, almost a full second in front of Snarling Bongo, who's currently taking a look at his setups. The guys are starting to be getting ready now for the race, coming to the end of qualifying session, and starting to set the cars up with a little bit of the full race pace in mind, rather than the quickest laps now. So 1:34, 1:35s is what we've seen in qualifying, and potentially 1:36, 1:37s, I suspect, throughout race pace from our leaders. So be interesting to see though what the tyres are like around here. Currently it looks like Linga Bazinga struggling with that front right hand tyre from looking at the telemetry. So the front right potentially not quite getting to the temperatures that these guys are looking for. But as we said, currently on soft tyres, because the track temperature does call for that. And quite a few of our guys in the pits now. Again, they'll just be taking the last couple of tweaks to get the fuel and tyres adjusted correctly. I suspect with the fuel tanks that these cars have got that a zero stop strategy again will be in order here at the Glen. We're expecting just under 30 laps, probably 28 to 29 laps during the race. And no improvement from Bazinga there as he comes across the line. So the Mercedes really looking like a strong car here. As we go down our order, Snell and Bongo again in the Mercedes, Gel in the Mercedes. I think the first car that we've got out is Bruce Laurie, who we see coming out of the pit stop. Sorry, at pit lane now. The first car that we see on grid that is not a Mercedes. Closely followed by Murphy. So Murphy quickly putting in some quicker lap times there in the Toyota as we just wait for him to there we go, for the camera to catch up to him as he comes over the crest of the hill. Closely followed by Jack in the lap time. So if you just look there between 5th and 6th on our timing board, you can see Murphy and Jack, both these guys in the Toyota. So not a lot splitting these guys. A couple of attempts in it. So both these guys got the setups probably about as far as they can push them with the Toyota here. And Dyson putting in a quicker lap there. So Dyson, as he comes across the timing line, and Murphy not beating that this time. So Dyson in the CLK there as he just comes past. I think that's Luke. Yep, in the black and luminous green Gerstenfelder livery, which is so distinctive. So Dyson again punching up there with the big lads, trying to get the points under the belt. Doing well in the championship so far, and be looking to try and push forward. Not an awful lot between Jack de Menezes and Dyson. 19 points currently, but 19 points is not an awful lot of points considering the amount of points that a driver can drop if he spins or is disqualified from a race or doesn't manage to pick points up, which has been known. So a few guys still out on track here, just as we're coming into the last minute of our qualifying session. Lincoln Bazinga, Sterling Bongo and Jalma all out on track right at the top. So these guys are still pushing. I think we're trying to see which of the Dutch guys is actually fastest. And Dyson there putting in, so that was a quick lap from Dyson. Dyson there putting second out on the grid. So looks like the Mercedes do have it here. And Dyson certainly very capable in the Gerstenfelder livery Mercedes there. So most of the guys now back into the pits. Just Jelma coming round now for his final corner, and that might be track limits actually as he goes off that line there. So no improvement for Jelma as he come across the line. So that looks like it's it for our qualifying session here at Watkins Glen. And it looks like Lincoln Bazinga yet again has done it with the pole position there, closely followed by Dyson, who I believe is Scottish and not South African. So we've got a Dutch pole position, Scottish second position, and Dutch in third with Snell and Bongo. So let's jump over and get our race underway. Final couple of minutes now for our guys, just to put the final tweaks and touches on their setups as per usual. So track temperatures adjusted slightly here, up to 61 degrees Fahrenheit now for the track temperature. I can't see that changing too much here with the weather forecast remaining as light cloud, I believe. And just as we go to our grid, we see our guys just getting ready and lining up. So what do we have this week coming up? So like I said, we are midway through our GT1 season, so it is currently race 4, as it is for most of our championships this week. Next we have our LMP2 championship, which is on Saturday. Unfortunately that isn't broadcast, but directly after that we do have our GT3 championship at 8 PM on Sunday evenings. So do tune in and make sure that you catch the GT3 races on Sunday on our YouTube channel on FluxMotorsport TV. So just 30 seconds or so left now, just as we're getting underway for our showdown at the Glen. So suspecting, as we said, Mercedes to do well here. Toyotas, if they can keep it under control. That back end loving to get out on the Toyota when you start to try and shove it too hard. And I think the very capable Bruce Law will be desperate to try and get in amongst the leaders here as per usual. So we're about to get underway as the lights come down at Watkins Glen, and they are underway. So we are go at the Glen, and that's Dyson straight forward into first place. So a great start from Dyson there. Lingabazinga does have the inside line, which Dyson relinquishes, lets him take that there. And Snell and Bongo up into third place, Jelmer into fourth. So pretty much as they were from the start. Murphy gets a good start up into fifth there. As you see him just cut in front of Bruce Law, and Jack making it very difficult there. As you see him Bruce defending from Jack there in the panels. But Lingabazinga first, Dyson second, Snell and Bongo third, and Murphy in fourth. So Murphy just splitting up the Dutch there as they come into the bus stop chicane. Difficult chicane here with this many cars. As we see the panels getting a little bit wide there, and Snell and Bongo just starting to cut the inside on the exit of the chicane. Doesn't look like anybody got too upset there. And as we try and just stay with our pack here, Snell and Bongo just managing to fend off, I think, hold back the rest of the pack now, as they are all the way up to sixth place. It looks like bunched up here, and it looks like potentially Bruce and Jack have got into a bit of a mess here, falling all the way back down to 6th and 7th spot. Just closely being followed up by Dirk Diggler there, I think, behind him. It is there, Dirk Diggler in the black panels there, so the other panels that we've got out on track here, as well as Bruce and Stoltz. But Jack and Bruce, they're struggling, as we see Jack going wide there. And I think that was the white and yellow car of Jelmer as well, just going wide there in front. Stick back over to our leaders, and we've still neck and neck here with place 1 and 2 as they come round to finish lap 1 here, and over onto lap 2. Lingabazinga looks like he's got back in front of Dyson though, so that superior speed that I think he had in qualifying there, that additional half second that he had, just showing towards the end of lap 1 as he's able to get his nose back in front, and Dyson not able to challenge for that. Great start though from Dyson there to get away from everybody. Snell and Bongo sticking up in third place, and managed to fend off most of the pack now. Murphy's closest rival with a couple of seconds back to him there, and it looks like Murphy's got Bruce all up in his mirrors. So Jack looking like he's took the worst of that tussle there between Bruce and Jack, and Bruce managing to stick with it as Murphy goes round into the bus stop, taking a little bit too much speed there, and that possibly is the curse of the commentator, as Bruce goes through for 4th spot. So just coming into this downhill section now, difficult left-hander, particularly on the exit, not the entrance to that corner, and then you've got the banked uphill right-hander here, which is almost a hairpin, long hairpin, but essentially it is a hairpin corner, and he comes back up the hill. So Bruce starting to get a little bit of distance now, away from Jelmer, a couple of seconds in it, but I can see Jelmer trying to catch that gap back up. And Jack just coming up behind Martin, or Jelmer as we call him. So Jack's not done yet either, and potentially Jack there with the pace, potentially trying to get up the inside as Jelmer goes wide. Not quite got the pace this time, but he's right behind him now. Coming into the penultimate corner here. Again, a couple of bank corners that are left-handed to a right hand. And the Toyota is going to struggle there, but as soon as you get it on the straights, she's going to get the power down. Jelmer going for the inside line, looking to try and defend there. And Jack not having the legs on it this time, but does get a better exit. Gets a good run there. Not able to get past him up the hill. Got to take a very particular line up here to make sure that you don't take the arm core on the outside. And potentially a slowdown, I think, there for Jack, as he seems to have dropped back just a little bit from Jelmer there. We'll switch back over to our fight for first place. So Dyson still sticking with Lingabazinga here, so certainly not a done deal here yet. Just about a second gap in between these two. As you see Lingabazinga go round, and Dyson struggled to get out of the way, so there's contact there. but there was nothing that Dyson could do about it, as we see Snelling Bongo is about to shoot through. Dyson still manages to stick in second place, and I think that's the car, Luke 42, that's just getting inside the action there. So let me just try and flick over to that. I believe it is Luke. So Luke is on the blue flag condition there, I believe. As that is Bruce Law coming behind him. So yeah, moving over to the outside of the track. So Luke trying his best there to get it away as the leaders come past him. But yeah, really unfortunate there from Linda Bazinga, just over rotated. Couldn't have mentioned it sooner about the banking on that part of the track there. Watkins Glen is a real pain for it. Tyres really do have to be set up correctly for this track. It's not a track you can mess around with the suspension and with the tyres too much to try and eke extra bits of time out of the car. Stability really here is more important, making sure that you get the car planted, particularly up this uphill section here as you go over that crest. Again, important at the bus stop, the weight balance of the car, braking is massively important there, and then you've got the tight right-hander downhill just after that. Great big right-hander, lots of speed needed for that. So Dyson's still in second place, but he's got Snelling Bongo, so a different Dutch guy in front of him this time. So our guys from the Netherlands can't quite make their mind up who wants to be the quickest here today. Currently it's Snelling Bongo, but Dyson certainly isn't done, and I think that's Bruce catching in the background. It is. So Bruce, having got past Luke Snipes there and lapping Luke, does look like he's going to come quickly onto the back of these two here. If they continue to fight and continue to try and slow each other down, which I'm sure is not intentional, I'm sure Snelling Bongo is going as fast as his little legs can carry him. And Bruce will be catching up here, and it looks like we've got a battle just behind starting to form up in Jelma and Jack again. So Jack's just looked on the inside there. Great manoeuvre from Jack. Dive bomb on the inside, made that stick. Great manoeuvre from Jack there. And getting the run down through into the last couple of corners here. So again, bank left-hander, bank right-hander. And then time to get the power down in the Toyota. So Jack will be relieved that he's been able to get past that CLK. Looks like he has got a little bit more pace here. 138 compared to the 141 last lap between 4th and 5th. So I think that might be Jack 3 now, unless there's further mistakes. Back over to our fight for first. And Dyson really won't leave Snelling Bongo alone here. Sat in the draft, and it's not easy with these cars in the draft. A lot of aero displacement here as Snelling Bongo just over exit on the bus stop and takes a little bit of damage there from the tyres, and that does let Dyson through, and I think that's going to be Dyson running away with it now. Snelling Bongo is theoretically still in with the run in here. He's got Bruce right up behind him though now, and Bruce will be again pressuring. Just to mention though, Luke Snipes sticking with these guys in the background though, so great to see from Luke. He manages to keep the pace up with these guys lap after lap. Which he is indeed. So some pace there, maybe after the start. I think potentially maybe he got some damage there. So as you drop through the field, it looks like Murphy's dropped down the order, and so's Linga Bazinga from those two earlier spins. Linga Bazinga looks like he's done the better of it though, coming back up to 9th and just in front of DJ. And I think that was a flash of the lights there from DJ Ledger, as if to say, I can see that you're quicker, off you go son. And that was letting Linga Bazinga through, just staying a little bit further on the racing line, a little bit too far out on the corner to get the correct apex, and that starts just getting a bit squirrely in the background. But yeah, allowing Linga Bazinga to go through there. So didn't see the point of holding him up there. Knew full well that he'd be making himself slower trying to defend the line. So clever driving there from DJ Legit. Back over to our fight for second spot. So that was Dyson that we can still see there in first spot, but we've got Snelling Bongo. It still retains second after the little spin just coming up from the bus stop on the previous lap. It did look like he picked up a little bit of damage there on the front left of that CLK, but certainly doesn't look like he slowed him down too much. and Luke really getting toe to toe with Bruce there. So Luke Snipes starting to pull in decent laps, 139s, 140. So clearly got some pace in here. Unfortunately, he's dropped all the way back down to 14th. But I would expect him to start gaining places. All the guys from 11th backwards are actually putting in quicker laps than the guys in 9th and 10th. So I do expect to see some reshuffling of the order here. So currently I run down our order. We have Dyson in first place. In second place we've got Snarling Bongo. And third place we have Bruce Law, who's just closing up to the back of second place now. In fourth spot we've got Jack de Mendes. Fifth spot we've got Martin, or Jalmer as we call him. Sixth we've got Dirk Diggler, so Dirk Diggler moving quite far up the order there. Dirk Diggler originally down a bit in a 7th or 8th spot and moved even further down through the grid as we got underway on the starters' orders, but managing to get back all the way up to 6th place there. And he's got the blue and white car of Immortalis behind him, so that is not Luke Snipes, but that Immortalis actually behind. It's very similar liveries, slightly different, not actually teammates, just similar liveried cars. But yeah, Dirk managing to fend him off here. Immortalis is looking for a way round. Dirk managing to keep that black panels planted though, not too much, and curse of the commentator again for Immortalis, as that's Immortalis going round. I don't think he manages to collect the drive that was just coming through there, so no, he didn't indeed. So Lenga Bazinga just coming up behind him, but looks like he managed to get that back under control pretty quickly. Dirk just pulling away a little bit from Immortalis now. Lap times slightly better from Immortalis, so I would like to say I'd see that gap close back up if Immortalis can get back in on the game. But don't forget he's got Lenga Bazinga just coming up behind him. As that is Jalma going round in front, so Jalma there just losing it, and they're all off on that corner. So Lenga Bazinga off, Jalma off, and really starting to struggle with the soft tyres I think now on that CLK. So still a long way to go in this race. 33 minutes left in our session. And Immortalis, like we thought, just coming up to the back of Dirk Diggler again now. And Murphy there making his move from 10th to 11th spot as we see Immortalis going round, so really starting to struggle in the Mercedes now. As Lenga Bazinga does try and go through as they come through the uphill section now. Just take a little look at Murphy. So Murphy last time around 141, certainly bringing those lap times down. The guys in front can't keep it together. He may well go around as he starts to lose it himself a little bit there on the inside of that corner. Just a minor mishap. And that's Stoltz we've got in the pit. So our first pit of the day is the white panels of Stoltz. And that possibly is for damage as well. So we'll keep an eye on that, see how long he spends in the pit lane. So Immortalis on board now. I think that's Luke that's just behind him. So these guys starting to come through now. Luke starting to move out the way for some of these drivers as things start to change the order. Immortalis doesn't look like he's that much slower than Lenga Bazinga. Lap times are improving for Immortalis. 138.4's dropped to now from 138.8's last lap. So I don't think Immortalis is quite done yet. Didn't pick up too much damage from the previous spin, whereas Lenga Bazinga saw go off a couple of times. Yep, so Stoltz just about leaving the pits now. That Stoltz dropped down to the 13th spot and just about leaving the pits, so that does look like he's had potentially a little bit of damage repair, potentially a swap of tyres if the tyres are starting to overheat and over-rotate on him. So currently our fastest lap's being set by Dyson as we expect. And just behind that we've got Jack de Mendes, who's currently in 4th spot. A few seconds behind Bruce Law, so we can't see him on camera yet. I think that's just a glimpse of him we've got in the background there. But certainly the car that's starting to move through the order, wanting to move through the order, is Bruce Law, as he's Closing up to Snarling Bongo, slowly but surely here. Lasting a second in it. So Bruce looking like he's racing his own race again here. Consistent lap times, 138s, high 138s, low 139s. And is that Dyson that we've seen? It is. Oh no, that is our first place that spun there. So I didn't quite see it. I didn't quite catch that happen. But we did see the collateral damage that was caused there as Dyson had gone round, and that's I believe Jack that's just getting a bit squirrel on the exit there. So just nip over to Dyson and Jack in third and fourth spot. So that's a complete reshuffle of our grid now. So Bruce up to second spot, and still in touching distance to Snarling Bongo. Jack now up to third, so that's a quick jump up from sixth spot for Jack de Menezes. Not 7 or 8 laps ago. So if he can maintain this will be another good finish for Jack. Will cement his second place in the standings pretty firmly, especially if Linga Bazinga doesn't manage to get first here, which will be a real turn up for the books. I don't think we would have put money on that coming into this race. Dyson's not completely let off Jack de Menezes yet at this stage though, so Dyson's sticking with him. Doesn't look like there's too much damage from the spin earlier, so potentially, hopefully it was just a spin and he didn't actually pick up any aerial damage, as we see Jack just getting a bit wide there in the left tyre going on the grass, so that's not going to help traction, and that will allow Dyson to catch up a little bit to him. And Dyson goes round again, so the CLK is starting to really struggle here with the tyres, and you think you see a little bit of graining there from on the front right hand tyre. A little bit of patching there starting to show up, as I believe that is the lap stalks that's starting to come up behind him. But another spin there from Dyson, so he's really starting to struggle with the tyres there, and I believe that is the black panels of Dirk Diggler behind him. It is indeed. So Dirk Diggler and Linga Bazinga just behind. And I believe this is a trio over 1, 2, 3. The Immortalis is just behind that. It is indeed. So this is our battle for 5th spot here. Potentially it could be a battle for 4th very shortly if Dyson doesn't pull his finger out. And that is Dirk Diggler just going wide there. So that is going to allow Linga Bazinga through, and Immortalis to come through as well. So Dirk Diggler just staying out of the way there before he rejoins track. Great etiquette there from Dirk. But that does allow Immortalis through. Again, not done here for that battle for 5th spot, certainly not. And that's if they can't catch up to the back of Linga Bazinga with those tyres starting to wear off. Just behind that we've got DJ Legit, and I believe that is the car of Luke Snipes just behind him, but the white and yellow car behind that is Martin Algelma in 8th and 9th. So these guys again, not teammates but similar liveries, in 8th and 9th spot. Old Smokey coming up in 10th, so that'll be some good points for Old Smokey. He's not picked up an awful lot of points so far this season. I think he may have been a late joiner only in race 2, but this will be a handful of points for Old Smokey, so I'll be happy to pick these up. The other legend look like he's dropping back now, so again CLK's here. Potentially it looks like he's picked up some damage there on the right hand side, a couple of scrapes along the right hand side of that CLK, so looks like he's not been out the wars himself. Murphy looks like he's just been lapped there by Dirk Diggler. It is indeed, so Murphy really struggling there. Looks like he's picked up some more damage on that lap. So Immortalis, the only man within touching distance of the driver in front on track at the moment. Yep, and that is Murphy coming into the pits. That does look like heavy damage from Murphy, and I suspect he'll have been there for a while, as will Luke. So potentially these two guys coming together here. We might see a steward's inquiry from that later on. So 139's consistently been put in by Linga Bazinga and Immortalis. Sorry, it's certainly being put in by Immortalis. Linga Bazinga a little bit more inconsistent there with the spins that he's having. And a message that we're getting through from pit road there is that connection issues have been affecting Dyson, and actually Murphy needed a wheelie swap drivers, and the other driver that they got was, I don't believe he was a driver. From the looks of it, I think it was just a guy from the pit lane, a guy on the spanners. So that's something they're going to have to take a look at. Potentially their reserve driver there not turning up for work today, so that's going to have to be looked at in Murphy's team strategy. We're just back out on track here. We've still got Immortalis just pestering the back of Linga Bazinga here, and he will not leave him alone. And that is the Black CRK of Dyson just in front, so not too far behind Dyson, certainly not. Yes, there we go, just about coming in, and I believe that is Dyson coming in the pits. It is, so that's Dyson in the pits. And 074 Ledger, I believe, in the pits as well, so we've got two guys in the pits now. Yep, so that will be damage repairs though for Ledger, as they're just getting him back out on track by the looks of it now. And it does look like they've had the guns out there to get the wheels off, but I'm not 100% sure whether he's actually had a tyre change there, so we'll have to ask him after the race on that one. But certainly I suspect the tyres are starting to struggle if they've picked the softs here. A guy in the CLK making it work today though is Snarling Bongo. So currently on lap 13, which some might say is unlucky for some, but certainly not for Snarling Bongo. He's extended that lead in front of Bruce Law by a couple of seconds now, so there's a little bit of comfortability there, but certainly won't be switching off, as it looks like Snarling Bongo, despite a bit of a shaky start, did start in third and retain third for a little bit, started to get a bit squirrely on that one, and then really started to knuckle down after that, and he's not really put a foot too many feet wrong after that. As we see Old Smokey in the pits now, sorry, so that was Old Smokey's, we're just going past pit lane there, I believe, in the pit stop. So, and Snarling Bongo extending that lead even further though, so a couple of tenths here and there, just seeing Snarling Bongo just pull that lead out in front. Still flying the Dutch flag around the Glen here today, but this time it is in the shape of Snarling Bongo, not Linga Bazinga. And our usual suspect on our podium, Bruce Law, currently in second spot. Bruce Law not having a completely uneventful race here, with a mistake as he came through that left-hander on the downhill section. But not too much of a mishap. Currently Bruce at second place. Probably our biggest mover up the grid so far, Jack de Menezes. Managed to qualify quite well, got knocked down pretty early on, and then he's fought his way back up. So Jack really having a solid drive after the first couple of laps here so far. Linga Bazinga back up in fourth spot now, so it looks like some of our guys are starting to pit. Linga Bazinga's managed to get up here in fourth spot again. Had his own mishaps today, a couple of spins. It does look like he's had consistent laps the last 2 or 3 laps, and he's starting to pull the laps down now to 137s again. Just starting to find a little bit of form as maybe the tyres come back in again. So it does look like he's lost a bit of a threat from Immortalis behind him in that blue and white CLK. Immortalis currently rocking up in 5th spot. Yeah, 142s for Immortalis on his previous lap, so losing a little bit of pace compared to Linga Bazinga though. I think you see Immortalis getting back into his rhythm again, and this would potentially be a little bit quicker, 138, 139 as we've come to expect. And actually comes into the pits there, so Linga and Immortalis into the pits. So potentially this will be tyre changes here, and it is about halfway through our session, just a minute or so to go. Just a minute or so over, and it just past the halfway point. Yeah, these guys certainly the pit crew's not looking like they're going for the tyres here. But I fully suspect that these guys are getting tyre changes with the amount of over rotations we've seen out on track. But that's allowed DJ Ledger and Jelmer to jump up in the yellow and white CLK liveries. DJ with the luminous yellow, and Jelma with the bright pink ears, as I like to call them, or wing mirrors as we call them in the UK. And these guys neck and neck now, so a battle potentially here for fourth spot, and there will be no others lost. Like I said, these are not teammates, and they will be both be wanting that fourth spot position. A little bit too far behind Jack Menzies. I think that's the red and white Toyota of Murphy just in front there. Whichever we'll want to try and overtake DJ Legit if the opportunity arises. But for now, we'll understand there's 20 minutes left in this session, and there's no point making a difficult job for yourself and make yourself defend from the guy that you've just passed. So playing the waiting game, I think, here at the moment, Jalma, just waiting for that opportunity to open up, waiting for a mistake. They do say if you've followed a driver for long enough, it actually causes them to make a mistake. They keep checking the mirrors. The minor loss of concentration momentarily, it's just enough for you to capitalise on and go through. So we'll keep an eye on these two here, and that looks like Zinger just starting to come in the pits. It is indeed. So Dyson just coming out in it. I can see what he's saying about connection issues. That car looking like it's actually levitating on track. So still clipping the apexes, but not quite in contact with the tarmac. So that is going to reduce rolling resistance for Dyson there. Might have to go to the stewards with that one. Back over to our battle for fourth spot between DJ Legend and 1965, and I think that is the Toyota of Murphy. They're just getting out of the way. It is not, so I can't imagine it is Jack Menzies. So I'll come back to you on which Toyota that was. Apologies. Yeah, Murphy just out here on track. Again, 1 second, 139, so find a bit of form again here. And he's currently closing up the back of Dirk Diggler. Dirk in 7th spot, so this isn't for track position, but Murphy will be doing his best to try and stick in the draft there with that panos, and just try and maintain that race pace, bring that car home. Hopefully if he can maintain a decent 139 lap time, he will still pick up points here. So jump back over to our leaders now. Snelling Bongo still in first, Bruce Law in 2nd spot, but that gap's still around about a second or so. So which means Bruce has probably closed that gap up a second and a half or so, just to bring that gap back down again. So Bruce starting to push now, or Snelling Bongo starting to fall off as it might be. 138 consistently from Bruce. Snelling Bongo a little bit slower on the last lap than Bruce, so potentially again you push that CLK for a little bit hard, a little bit too long, and you start to pay. The panel seems a little bit more balanced, and as we say that, that Snelling Bongo just going a little bit wide, so potentially it is the tyres here, and they have started to just go off again. So if you're pushing the car too hard, it starts to make mistakes. So that's Bruce Law through to 1st spot, and that is the first time, I believe, in GT1s this season that Bruce has been in 1st spot at this stage in the race. So just over 15 minutes to go in our session here, so about a third of the race left to go. I don't expect we'll see another pit stop from the guys if they have pitted once, and I suspect Bruce will be trying a no-stop strategy here. But like I said, just about 15 minutes or so to go in our session, and we do look like we've got another couple of battles out on track here. So looks like Murphy has started to pull Luke Snipes in, and does get that manoeuvre done there, looks like, out on track. Yeah, camera's struggling to catch up with that one. But Murphy just toying with Luke Snipes there, as these guys fighting for the final position. Luke getting the better of it there. Yep, so Dyson also getting past Jelma there, and now starting to look around the back of the DJ Legge. Really disconcerting with the physics there on Dyson's CLK, but Certainly looks like he's maintaining line, even if he can't make contact with the tarmac. How that's transpiring for the other drivers, though, I'm not 100% sure. But that is Dyson making his way through. DJ Legend not making him work too hard for it again. And Jack Demenz is now starting to put the pressure on. So just in front of that, 30 seconds in front of that, Jack Demenz is caught up to our leaders now. So that is Jack just in striking distance there, just as the hazard warning light flashes up, just to indicate that the car is within a second to a second and a half gap, potentially the overtaking zone, as DJ Leggy, I think he's just about catching back up with Dyson again. So this is not potentially done this yet. I'm trying to stick with the battle for third spot. So 1:39 was our last lap. If we try and take a quick check on the timing board. So best lap so far is 1:37.2 by Dyson. Sorry, 1:37.1 by Linga Bazinga. But not an awful lot in it. So 1:37.1s, 1:37.2s are our fastest laps, but that's a far cry from what we're getting out on track now. 1:38, I believe, is our quickest current lap. Jack now really closing that back gap up to Snelling Bongo, and every time he gets on the straight, Snelling Bongo will be starting to look in the rear views, as Jack was a little bit fishtailing there on the exit of that corner. So not a completely fixed setup for Jack, but looking like he's got well in control of this setup here, but does look like it is still trying to misbehave on him, because he goes a little bit wide again. So potentially this is dirtier now, just affecting Jack and stopping him from getting as much power down as he needs to. I don't believe that we've seen Jack pit, and I don't think Jack will be pitting with only 30 minutes left in session here. So Jack's going to try and make this work and potentially running those tyres ragged, I believe. As that is Luke Snipes, I believe, that they're going past. So Jack's still applying the pressure, just about a second behind Snarling Bongo now. So 1, 2, 3, we've got Bruce Law, Snarling Bongo and Jack Demenzes. Jack really making this Toyota work after getting knocked back down the order initially, and potentially even picking up a bit of contact there, so this car could be running with minor damage and still managing to pull the guys in at the front. Immortalis currently setting our fastest lap with a 1:37.0. That could be the fastest, one of the fastest laps that we've seen today, had it not been for Linga Bazinga currently putting in a 1:36.235. So it does look like they've got a battle for 7th place just forming up here between Immortalis and Dirk Douglas. So we'll just try and stick with Jack, and I think that's Luke going round. It is indeed. So Luke Snipes just taking a tumble there. And I believe that's Murphy in front, so Murphy just remaining off track while the guys go round. So Immortalis just pulling up to the back of Dirk Diggler again here. Dirk Diggler now in 7th spot, and Immortalis trying to take a move down the outside. Great manoeuvre there from Immortalis, a little bit of a flash there as he thanks Dirk for not making it too much of a difficult job there. One of the most difficult corners there for the scrub of the front front tyre as Immortalis pulled that move off. So great manoeuvre there, great to not get contact. That's Immortalis through up to 7th spot. And another battle now, so just in the coming up to the last 10 minutes, looks like we're starting to get a few battles form up on track. Battle for 10th spot between 074 Leggy and Stoltz is forming up now. So these guys have had a little bit of issues during the race, currently not putting the quickest lap times in, but 074 Leggy currently putting a much quicker lap in than Stoltz with a 140 to a 143. As he thinks better than going down the inside there. Just going to think about making a move down the inside, but thought better of it. Again, this is a track position, so stewards will be taking a look at this for any potential contact that we've seen between these two drivers, and cleanly getting that manoeuvre done on the inside, just coming as we come to the bus stop section here. So great manoeuvre there from 474 Leggy, still picking off places here with the last 10 minutes of this race. We'll just go back up the action a little bit to DJ Leggy and Dyson, I believe, who's just in front of him. It is indeed Dyson, so DJ Leggy here potentially in with a straight for 4th spot. Dyson currently putting 139s in his previous lap, but as we've seen, it's not completely safe from the spin, the CLK. So depending on how hard these guys have been pushing it, just getting a bit twitchy under the braking zone there. DJ Leggy tries to get the front end of that CLK back in order. Nicely done though as he comes through into this double left-handed section here. A very difficult corner that again on the exit. We like to get extremely twitchy, as you can see the rumble strip there as he just cuts back to try and make that a little bit easier for people. And some of the quicker corners here start to really affect the tyres. So great big hill section all the way downhill, and throwing it into this right hand corner. Definitely a difficult bump on the exit of that corner as well, but cleanly done there by DJ Leggy. Nice to see. So lap 22 we're on. We're in about 9 minutes left in session. We've got Bruce Law leading this race after a great start actually from Dyson. Dyson got a wonderful start. Bruce Law dropping back down that order, back down to 5th spot, I believe. Getting to a bit of a tussle potentially with Jack de Menzies, which we'll go back to on the stewards' inquiries if needs be. But Bruce there showing his class and working his way up that order, fighting tooth and nail, and eventually capitalising all those mistakes, pushing his way up through to 1st spot. But it's not over yet. That fat lady is definitely not singing yet. There's time left in this race. So just taking another look at the white and yellow livery of Jelmer's car. Again, the 3rd Dutch driver here. Jelmer actually a reserve driver in this race, so and in the previous race. So taking advantage of the 2 free spots that we've had in the last couple of races at the GT1 event. But certainly picking up spots. Is that Stoltz that we see going around in the background behind? I believe it is. So Stoltz they're really struggling to get that panels in order. Will that allow Old Smokey to come through? I don't believe so. I think he's a little bit further back, Old Smokey. Indeed he is, so Old Smokey won't be able to come through and capitalise on that. But potentially damage there for Stoltz, as we saw that front end as the nose take a little chunk out the barrier there. Yeah, a little bit of damage there to the windscreen as well as the front end there, so quite a heavy impact I think from Stoltz. Doesn't look undrivable, still managing to make it work though, so we'll just be looking to nurse that car home in the last 7 minutes now. And back over to another one of our Toyotas, Jack de Menzies. Jack currently in 3rd spot, again another big climber in this race, up from down in the order, up from I believe in 6th spot, just behind Bruce, and potentially he will not be done yet. I believe that's Linga Bazinga in front, so potentially Jack just lapping Linga Bazinga, or coming to the back of him to lap him here. But Linga Bazinga currently right up the trough of Snell in Bongo, so albeit not for position, certainly not letting off here Linga Bazinga, and he is entitled to unlap himself if he does have the pace. Just keep a watch for the front end of that car, just to see whether you see a dip of the lights, just as if to say, do you mind if I come through? But I fully suspect if he has got the pace, he will try and get that manoeuvre done. The ruling being that he's not allowed to interfere with the race between second and third place between Snarling Bongo and Jack, but he's certainly all up in the draft trying to get the best of the weight that Snarling Bongo's creating. Backed off a little bit there, potentially getting a little bit close and being conscious of that. So we'll try and keep an eye out for that. But it looks like we've just potentially seen Murphy move up another spot, so Murphy potentially passing Old Smoky there. Murphy up to 12th spot and Old Smoky in 13th. We've currently got a battle here for 6th place as Martin with the pink ears, or pink rear view mirrors, just coming to the back of Immortalis here. But Immortalis again can set quick laps. We've seen him setting the 137s here today, but also prone to spinning. So depends how much they're working it, depends how much the aero's affecting these cars. And I believe that Immortalis is actually just catching up to DJ Ledger just in front as well, which he is. So these guys are really getting close now. Immortalis tries to look down the inside, just about makes it work on that corner, so Ledger's trying to get the switch back, not going to make that work. Playing past though, a little bit of acknowledgement from either driver, great to see. Immortalis getting a little bit wide there and having to get hard on the brakes. I'll allow DJ Ledger to get a nice run down there, but I don't think he's quite in the draft there, and it looks like we've just lost a driver. Potentially. I think we've lost several drivers. I think we've just had a disconnection there, so that's potentially taken some of our drivers out, so we'll have to go to our timing board, because 90% of this race has been completed. So these guys, if they have been disconnected, will still get points from this race. If there's been more than 3 disconnections, I believe the rule is, so we'll have to take a look at that. But currently as it stands, our leaders, Bruce Law, Snarling Bongo and Dyson, are all still here, but it does look like it's affected Jack de Menezes, so Jack de Menezes will have been taken out of the race there, and that will be absolutely soul destroying for him. So we'll have to bring it out next time, but certainly there will be an inquiry into the disconnection there. So lap 26 on this race. Currently our leader out in front is Bruce Law, who looks like he could take his foot off here now, as we've got the last 3 minutes of this race. His closest competitor, Snarling Bongo, just behind him. To be fair, Snarling Bongo's been trouble in first place all day. Snarling Bongo up here in second place, and through no fault of his own, all the way back up to 3rd spot now for Dyson after getting an absolute great start. And then unfortunately a couple of pretty horrific spins, not picking up too much damage by the looks of it, but that's seen him drop back down the order. Dyson looks like he's going to pick up several points from this race today. Another driver that's going to stand out well here is Jelmer, so Jelmer's going to pick up a great big handful of points as a reserve driver, which does mean if he does get entered into this championship, again only halfway through in this championship, could end up with a good hefty amount of points. As you see, his name basically come out the blocks, out the starting blocks, so he could well start the championship as it looked in the leaderboards with the points from his last 2 or 3 races. So another great big handful of points here for Jelmer. Dirk Diggler looks like he's managed to maybe fend off a couple of rivals though. The closest competitor to Dirk Diggler now, I think, is Linga Bazinga with a 20-second gap behind him. So the pressure is off now for Dirk Diggler. Doesn't need to push that much. He could potentially still get 4th place here. Only a 3.2 second gap between the guys in 4th and 5th. But I think 5th at this stage will be quite satisfactory for Dirk Diggler. I think he'd be quite happy coming so far up the order, and quite disappointed for the other guys as well. I'm sure they all will. So just a minute or so left in our session here, not long now, as Linga Bazinga comes up to the back of Bruce Law. I think these guys potentially just starting to slow it down a little bit now. A little flash of the lights there from Bruce as he lets Linga Bazinga through. So again, these guys just starting to I think start to slow the laps down. We've seen them drop to 142s, 145s now. as they're conscious. Apologies, just an issue with the stream. It looks like we are having connection issues this evening. But yeah, it looks like just 30 seconds or so left in our session. The guys are just very conscious that there's potentially been a red flag situation and the points have been affected. So, but the race is still afoot. There's still 20 seconds or so left in this session. So not quite the last lap there. It will be penultimate lap as he comes across the line now. And Bruce Law will come around for his last lap. So it looks like it's Bruce's to take. Closest guy behind Bruce Law is Snarling Bongo in the black and orange liveries Mercedes there. And Snarling Bongo will have to do another lap, I think, as he comes across that line. Maybe not. Nope, so that's it for Snarling Bongo. So just Bruce to finish his lap there. So as long as these guys finish in the current order and no more spins, this will be it as it stands. So Gelman looks like he's going to take third spot. And Dirk Diggler just coming up behind him there. So again, potentially not all done here. It looks like Dirk Diggler could even get a podium here. So it does look like we've just lost another guy. So down to 8 drivers now from near enough a full grid of 14 drivers as we started off. Dirk Diggler just a couple of seconds behind. I don't think he's going to manage to get quite enough of a run up onto the back of Gelman here to try and snatch this last podium spot. But I'm sure that's all he can think about now as he comes to the last 2 corners here. And unless there's a mistake from Gelman in front, which I don't think there will be. No running wide from Gelman there. And one more corner in it. So that's Bruce with a win. Snarling Bongo with second. And Gelman with third spot. Dirk Diggler just coming round in 4th spot. Linger Bazinga will take 5th. Stoltz will manage to snatch his 6th spot. So great result for Stoltz. Murphy will manage to grab 7th spot. And Luke Snipes will manage to bump up all the way up to 8th spot, I believe, from 12th from the grid just before we had the connection difficulties. So quite a lot going on here. And that's Bruce as he comes across the line there. So this will have to go to the stewards' inquiries, and we will come back to you next week and let you know exactly what's going on with the disconnection, exactly how that's affected people's points, and with just a synopsis of the breakdown of exactly what went on here. But never a dull day at Flux Motorsport, and these things do happen during racing. We do get red flag incidents from time to time, and we will account for the standings accordingly. But a great drive here from Bruce Law. From the guys that didn't get disconnected, certainly the guys at the front, Bruce, Snarling Bongo, Dyson, Linger, Bazinga. Great drive from these guys. A little bit unlucky from Linger and Dyson at points, but these guys showing what they've got in the GT1 cars and why they are consistently up there in 1, 2, 3 spots week in, week out. So Bruce Law will be quite happy with the win here, which it looks like Bruce Law would have got anyway, but that's certainly going to help massively for his standings. And Snarling Bongo already a little bit way down, a little bit of a way down the order from a late start, I think, from the championship. He missed a race at the beginning as well, due to a late join. So we'll be desperate to try and build that points bank up. So it's been great to have you here at Flux Motorsport. Like I said, I've been your host, Lecky, for the evening. Again, I apologise for any technical difficulties that we have had here, and we will come back to you next week with how that went. But for me this evening, it's been lovely to have you, and we do hope to see you next week. Thanks very much. Good evening.